Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So as I potentially updated you on, of course, obviously we have got our first summer signing, of course, in Daniel James. Obviously it's our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously we agreed initial £15 million deal. Obviously there's add-ons including the deal, so it's around £18 million that has been agreed, of course. So that is very good news indeed. So obviously Daniel James is our first summer signing, but obviously the big question is who's going to be our next current sign. I think it's looking likely to be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously it did say we have scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, and obviously he has been one of our priority targets. He has been on our agenda for quite some time as Bruno Fernandes. I think we are set to get him in a deal with around £70 million. I think we have scheduled this meeting with Sporting Lisbon for some time next week, so it should be finalised next week. Initially, we did want to get the deal finalised sometime this week, but recent reports have come out saying that Liverpool are in for him. Also, Tottenham are in for Bruno Fernandes. I think he'd fit in Liverpool's system, really well with Bruno Fernandes, of course. I don't really think he'd fit in Tottenham's system really well, to be quite honest. I know Tottenham could offer him Champions League football. Also, Liverpool can offer him Champions League football. Obviously, we can't offer him Champions League football because we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But obviously, Ball of the Portuguese press, they're basically reported now. Obviously, we emerged as a front runners, to currently get the players' signature. Initially, it has been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for Bruno Fernandes. But I think City now have publicly come out with a statement, saying that they're not even in now for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, they don't want to be mentioned in the press again, with them being linked with Bruno Fernandes when they're initially not linked with Bruno Fernandes. So Manchester City are no longer interested in Bruno Fernandes, of course. So it does say they have pulled out the race. Initially, it did say City were only willing to offer him around £47 million. It did say City willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. But I do believe we are in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, he's only 24 years of age. I think he'd be a fantastic signing for us. He would bring them goals that we do need in that midfield. He can also provide assists, and he will fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy really well with Bruno Fernandes, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend young players to Manchester United this summer. And Bruno Fernandes is primarily an attacking midfield, and like I said, he would be the adequate replacement if Paul Pogba was to leave Manchester United. There is still a possibility chance that Paul Pogba could remain at the football club. But like I said, Bruno Fernandes' his initial release clause is around £86 million in his deal with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously it did say we're not willing to trigger his release clause, but I think Sporting Lisbon want around £70 million for Bruno Fernandes. He has got a contract with Sporting Lisbon till 2023, but he has been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons, and he has exceeded expectation levels. He's done really well, and I do believe he can replicate this form in the Premier League. And obviously he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. So I do believe obviously that Bruno Fernandes is going to be our next signing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And so it's looking like we're going to get a deal over the line for him. Like I said, Tottenham have inquired about his services, because I think Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes now as an alternative for Giovanni Lo Celso, because I think that's Tottenham's Tottenham's priority target. Obviously Tottenham have inquired about Giovanni Lo Celso's services. Obviously Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda, but I think that's their priority target is Giovanni Lo Celso. And I think from Giovanni Lo Celso's perspective, he wants to make the move to Tottenham, even though we've been interested in Giovanni Lo Celso. I think he scored like 16 goals was it in all competitions last season in La Liga. Obviously Real Betis got him last summer from PSG. Initially he was on loan, but I think Real Betis made the deal permanent back in April. So I think the Real Betis paid around £20 million for this, but PSG do benefit from it. They get a percentage of any current sale, of course. So he has been on Tottenham's agenda. Tottenham have been in negotiations with Real Betis to conclude a deal. It does reportedly say now that Tottenham have had a bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso. So he did initially say last month that Tottenham had put a bid in for him of around £53 million, but obviously this figure is not going to be enough to convince Real Betis to offload him. His initial release clause is around £88 million, and I think maybe they are demanding for his £88 million release clause to be triggered, or they want maybe in the region of around £70 or £80 million. But he's very young. He's only 23 years of age, is Giovanni Lo Celso, so maybe Tottenham are set to miss out on him. So now they have turned their attentions more on Bruno Fernandes. But like like I said, Tottenham do want to do transfer activity this summer because, like I said, they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, the last sign I think they made was obviously Lucas Moura back in 2018. Obviously, I think their record signing is Davinson Sanchez, of course, who they got back in 2017 for Mike's. I think Tottenham paid him around £42 million for him, but I think he did come out a while back, and I think this was before the Champions League final. I think Mauricio Pochettino said if he doesn't get back this summer, he has threatened to resign as Tottenham manager. But obviously, he's been at Tottenham 5 years. Of course, he's done a really good job. Obviously, hasn't won out in terms of Masuwa yet, Mauricio Pochettino as a manager, but I do believe he's a really, really good manager. And obviously, if Tottenham want to be up there, competing and all that, and want to be winning silverware, obviously, they have got to get a couple of players in of Tottenham. But obviously, they have got Champions League football for next season. But I still believe Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is looking very, very imminent indeed. So I do believe he will be applying his trade in the Premier League next season. But like I said, you can see the deficiencies in our squad. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. Like I said, Daniel James now is very, very imminent, of course. So he'll probably looking to bring at least another 4 players, of course, in. And he wants to obviously, fulfill them areas where he thinks Manchester United are lacking. Obviously, the spending spree is around 200 or is it 250 million pounds. Obviously, it's going to mount up to a lot more than that. If we can cash in for Pogba, if we can cash in for the likes of Romelu Lukaku, there's a possibility chance that Pogba and Lukaku could remain at the football club, based on the huge transfer fees that we have put on them. But if we cash in for them, of course, it's going to mount up to a lot more than 200 million pounds. And I did say, it will help us with our rebuilding process and it will help us with our transition. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is working on, bringing players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club. Also working on bringing players in who he thinks have got that work ethic and that physicality and all that. And yeah. And also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club, as you all currently know. Obviously, we need to get a director of football in before the start of next season, and that is very, very essential indeed, because we do need a structural change at the club. But it would be ideal, to recommend someone who knows the culture of the club, someone who, of course, has got the experience. So we've got to get a director of football in before the start of next season. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. He still believes we can get our number one priority targets. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit, British talent this summer. Of course, he wants to bring quite a few British players in, because obviously, we showed an interest in quite a few British players. But Solskjaer, he's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club, so he does want to bring young players to Manchester United. So obviously, he's worked out his current transfer strategy. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying towards the back end of last season, that he had been contacted by a number of agents, saying that their players do want to come to Manchester United. So I do believe that Bruno Fernandes is going to be our second signing. Obviously, he came out a couple of weeks ago saying that he's aware of the speculation, but he said he's still unsure about his future. He did say he's had a good couple of years there with Sporting Lisbon. He doesn't know if he's going to be spending a third year there with them. But I do believe he's going to be on his way to Manchester United. 24 years of age. Has still got a lot of development in him, and I do believe he would be a fantastic in our midfield, and I do believe he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield. But I think he's definitely got all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League as Bruno Fernandes. I want to give you some additional information about Juan Mata as well. As I did initially say, as I've been saying to you on a regular basis, it is looking very imminent. He's set to leave Manchester United. Now, there has been a change of scenery, because I think we have now got a release list or something like that. I've obviously all the players that are set to leave Manchester United and all that. But reportedly, Juan Mata is not included in that release list, because I think now it does reportedly say we have offered Juan Mata a new contract reportedly. Whether this contract gets accepted or not, I do not know, because I think Manchester United are keen on keeping Juan Mata at least for another year or two. But reportedly now we have offered him a new contract. Obviously, we have been in negotiations trying to get him a contract extension. Obviously, he's a really, really good player. He's Juan Mata. Obviously, he's been a really good servant to the club initially. Doesn't even get in the team now. So basically, Juan Mata is a squad player. Obviously, he's been at Manchester United 5 years as Juan Mata. And obviously, at one point, it was looking very likely, he was going to be leaving the club, because obviously, we struggled to come to an agreement to get him a contract contract extension. Obviously, Juan Mata is 31 years of age now, so I don't believe, we would be willing to offer him a long-term contract, because obviously, like I said, he's 31 years of age, he's aging up and all that. He has lost that yard of pace as Juan Mata, but maybe we can come to an agreement to get him a new contract. I think there has been talks saying that Barcelona are obviously not interested in him. I think Barcelona have been in talks of getting him on a free transfer, of course, so there has been talks that he could make the return back to Spain, because obviously, Juan Mata had a lot of experience playing in Spain when he was younger. Obviously, he began his career with Madrid, obviously, had 4 years there with Valencia, but I think he's done really, really well since he's come to the Premier League, and he has been in the Premier League now, what is it, about 7.5, 8 years now. Obviously, this was including his 2.5 or 3 years he had with Chelsea when he was younger, but he's been fantastic for Manchester United. I think he's made about 218 appearances for us in all competitions in 5 years, and I think he's scored about, 45 goals as Juan Mata, so he has been very consistent indeed. He has been here since the David Moyes era, so maybe we'll, get Juan Mata a new contract. Don't get me wrong, we have, that's been a problem with Manchester United. We have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, that's been an issue. Obviously, I think it's looking likely, that David De Gea is going to be leaving the club. Obviously, he's in the final year of his deal. I think his likely destination is going to be PSG, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Now PSG have stepped up their interest, because obviously, Buffon is set to leave PSG. I think it didn't initially say that PSG, were willing to offer him around £60 million, but obviously, would want to cash in over De Gea this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year. But we have been in talks for a long, long time of trying to get David De Gea a new contract. Reportedly, he's demanding that he wants around £350,000 a week. Obviously, we do know that the club are not willing to meet his current wage demands, and this is the main factor reason why he hasn't signed a new contract. Obviously, in his current deal, David De Gea is on £200,000 a week, so he's demanding like £150,000 pay rise. But it did say PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demand. David De Gea has been a long servant here. He's been here 8 years. Obviously, made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. But like I said, at full value for the goalkeeper, David De Gea is worth around £100 million. But obviously, because he's potentially, the best goalkeeper in the world. But obviously, we're not going to get £100 million for De Gea, because obviously, he's in the final year of his contract. But I've admired his fantastic career, with Manchester United. Obviously, he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we paid £17 million for him from Atletico Bilbao back in 2011. But he has been fantastic for Manchester United. We do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Obviously, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him, but due to fax machine, the deal, of course, never materialised. I think it's also said that Juventus have been interesting. But like I said, De Gea has won everything here domestically. Obviously, has won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 seasons. Hasn't really done much wrong in his 8-year period. He did make quite a few costly mistakes towards the back end of last season, but obviously that was something to do with the contractual situation. But like I said, if De Gea leaves, we're going to have to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to buy a goalkeeper, I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to buy a goalkeeper to replace De Gea. I think he's willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, I know he did well in the FA Cup games last season, but, to be quite honest, I don't know yet if he's reliable enough, to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, we have got the likes of Dean Henderson, but he's too inexperienced at the moment. I think, Dean Henderson, needs to gain a bit more experience. Obviously, he has been on loan with Sheffield United. He is still young, but I think we need to loan Dean Henderson out for current another season, of course. So if De Gea leaves, we are going to need a goalkeeper to replace him. Like I said, with Rashford, he's also in the final year of his deal. Obviously, the likes of Barcelona have been in for him. Obviously, Real Madrid have previously been linked with Marcus Rashford now. Obviously, we have been in talks of trying to get Marcus Rashford a new contract. Obviously, I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on selling Marcus Rashford. We still believe he is the long-term solution for Manchester United, even though he has been inconsistent in the last couple of months. But like I said, he's only in the final year of his deal. He's only 21 years of age, so he's still very young. Obviously, it's going to take him a couple of years, to get him to that level, of course, where he does currently want to be, Marcus Rashford. So definitely, the long-term solution. I don't think Manchester United And I don't think Manchester United, of course, are intending on selling Marcus Rashford. So, yeah, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, we know we've let Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer, which was a mistake, because you could arguably say that Ander Herrera has been one of our best players, since Alex Ferguson retired. Like I say, we know that Valencia is leaving, of course. I think he's been linked with the MLS. There has been talks about him going to the MLS. Could he go to Ecuador? Could he retire? We're not too sure yet what's happening with Antonio Valencia, but obviously, we're going to need a replacement for him at right back. I do presume as well that probably Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo are going. Obviously, I think an estimated guess, we can get around 25 or 30 million pounds for Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo. But yeah, like I was saying, players are going to leave this summer. I probably expect maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 to leave Manchester United this summer. But like I said, £200 million, should be enough, to get us at least 5 players on the board. Depending on how we are with our recruitment this summer. I have heard quite a few people saying, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. Like I said, I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top 4. I do believe. Because I think our aspiration is going to be that top 4, and I think going on into next season, I think our expectation levels is probably going to be to finish in the top 4, maybe win the Carabao Cup, maybe win the Europa League, because I think we're a number of years off, for mounting any kind of title challenge up. But like I said, at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us, and it's very, very imperative, that we catch up with the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. And I do know a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United, over the years, since Alex Ferguson retired. We've had different managers with different philosophies. A hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club. Like I said, I think over £700 million has been invested, and obviously none of this squad's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, of course, and obviously he's still in the process of rebuilding. But we have got to be ruthless in this summer transfer window, because obviously we didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get as number one priority targets last summer, because obviously reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. So like I said, I think we need 2 central defenders, we need a right back, we need 3 new additions in that midfield if Paul Pogba, of course, leaves the club. We need to replace Fernando Herrera. We also need a holding midfielder. We also need a right winger, and we need a striker, especially, of course, from the where Lukaku leaves the club. Obviously, we do know other targets that Manchester United have been currently linked with. Is obviously Yuri Tillemans from Leicester. Now there has been a lot of talks about him going on yesterday, also the day before. I think there was a lot of talks about going on quite a few weeks ago. I think Yuri Tillemans he's expected to make the return to Monaco. Obviously, he's had about 5 or 6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League, because obviously, like I said, he's been on loan with Leicester, and he has been very, very impressive indeed. And obviously, I think Leicester now are keen on getting him on a permanent deal. Leicester have been in talks with Monaco of trying to get him on a permanent deal, but it also does say we're interested. It also says Tottenham have expressed their interest in Yuri Tillemans. He's only 22 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, of course. I think he's under contract with Monaco till 2022. He is available for a reasonable figure. I think Monaco rate him at around £40 million. But like I said, I think Yuri Tillemans has been pivotal to Leicester's transformation under Brendan Rodgers, of course. So I think this is why Leicester want to get him on a permanent deal, because he's been very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester. Initially he's at Monaco, though. Obviously Monaco paid around £21 million for him in 2017 from Anderlecht, because initially Yuri Tillemans began his career with Anderlecht and all that. So obviously progressing him up the ranks. Obviously he had 4 seasons with them. I think he made about 185 appearances and scored 35 goals across 4 seasons. So Yuri Tillemans has been subjected to quite a bit of a transfer speculation. I think we are identifying him as a replacement for Paul Pogba, of course. If Paul Pogba does leave Manchester United, so I think he's also been on Arsenal's agenda as Yuri Tillemans. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on, but I do believe at the moment his future is up in the air. But I think he's expected to make the return back to Monaco. Obviously, other players I've been giving you an update on them as well. I updated you yesterday about Ryan Sessegnon from Fulham, of course. Obviously, we do know that we've been in for Ryan Sessegnon, but I think from Ryan Sessegnon's perspective, his preferred destination is Tottenham, because obviously, he has been on Tottenham's agenda for quite some time as Ryan Sessegnon. I think Ryan Sessegnon has informed Fulham that he does want to leave. He's also said that he's not willing to renew his contract and all that. Reportedly, Fulham want around £40 million for for Ryan Sessegnon, and I think Tottenham are reluctant, to pay up to £40 million for him. I think Tottenham are only willing to pay up to around £25 million for Ryan Sessegnon. Don't get me wrong, I like Ryan Sessegnon a lot. He can play as a left back, he can also play as a left winger. I think he's now primarily a winner. Is Ryan Sessegnon. Obviously, he's only 19 years of age. Obviously, Ryan Sessegnon has had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, in the Championship the season before. But I think Ryan Sessegnon wants to leave Fulham because obviously he wants to take his footballing career to the next level. And obviously, he's reluctant to spend another season in the Championship. And obviously, Fulham are in the Championship next season. Obviously, have to get relegated from the Premier League after only spending one season in the top flight. So I definitely think Ryan Sessegnon's going to be leaving. He's only got a year left on his deal with Fulham. But I think, from his own perspective, he wants to make the move to Tottenham. But it did come out about this quite a few weeks ago, saying that we'd made initial contact with Fulham over the potential move for Ryan Sessegnon, because we have inquired about Ryan Sessegnon's services, quite a few times. But like I said, he has become an integral part of Fulham's squad. Obviously, he's been in their senior squad about 3 years. Is it obviously, made his senior debut at the age of 16, made his debut, of course, in 2016, and I think he's gone to make over 100 odd senior appearances for Fulham as Ryan Sessegnon, and I think he's the first player to be born in the 2000s, to score a goal in the first team game, Ryan Sessegnon. But I do really like him indeed. I think he's just recently turned 19 years of age, but yeah, really good player indeed. But I think Ryan Sessegnon believes now he's good enough to take his footballing career to the next level. So I think Fulham are demanding that they want around £40 million for him, but I think Tottenham are only willing to pay around £25 million for him. So the fee actually could be the stumbling block in this. But Ryan Sessegnon has basically said to Fulham that he wants to make the move to Tottenham. So there has been quite a few teams in for him, but I don't think we're going to get Ryan Sessegnon anyway, and I don't think we're really needing to, quite honestly, because I think on that left hand side we're mainly okay. Obviously, the majority of our attack obviously mainly comes from that left hand side, and obviously as well we've just confirmed the signing of Daniel James, so I don't really see us getting Ryan Sessegnon. And obviously we've got the likes of Luke Shaw at left back anywhere, so I think at that left back position we're okay. I think Luke Shaw's very reliable, hasn't done really much wrong as a Manchester United player, Luke Shaw. So I probably do believe if he leaves Fulham he will end up making the move to Tottenham. Fulham have been in talks of trying to get him a new contract, but obviously he has refused this, but he has spent the entirety of his career with Fulham. Obviously I think he joined Fulham's youth academy, was it in 2008, and had 8 years in their youth system, so he has grown, developed and flourished fantastically well as Ryan Sessegnon. But I do really like Ryan Sessegnon. I would like him to come to Manchester United, but I don't see it happening, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, as I've been updating you in at least the last couple of days in regards to James Maddison from Leicester. Obviously, Manchester United have been in for him. Recent reports have now suggested out saying that James Maddison wants to stay at Leicester, even though quite a few teams have been in for him. Obviously, the likes of City, Liverpool and Tottenham have obviously been linked to him for a number of years. I think they've been tracking him, since he was a teenager at Coventry. James Maddison, of course, but obviously, Manchester United are also in there for him. I think he did initially say, we made contact, with James Maddison and his current representatives over the potential move to Old Trafford. Obviously, we haven't made any formal bid of yet. I think we have emerged him as a priority target. He did initially say that Leicester do want around £60 million. I don't think, James Maddison, will be intending on spending the rest of his playing career with Leicester, but I think he wants to remain loyal with them at least for another season, because now, as I said, he's insisted that he does currently want to stay. But I do really like James Maddison. Obviously Premier League proven, obviously he's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League, and he did really well with Leicester last season, was involved in 14 goals, obviously created more chances than any other player, so his stats are very impressive. Obviously Leicester got him last summer from Norwich for around £20 million. Obviously he's under contract with Leicester till 2023, because he did sign a 5-year deal with Leicester last summer. But obviously I think he spent a couple of seasons in the Championship with Norwich, and he did really well. Obviously as well, he had his loan spell with Cardiff. He initially began his career with Coventry. He began his career with Coventry, and he also had a loan spell with Coventry. Also had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen. So there has been a lot of talks about James Maddison going on. Only 22 years of age, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So recent reports have said he's also on Manchester United's agenda. And I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder, of course. I do believe as well that we need a central defensive midfielder, because obviously, like I said, at the moment, Scott Tominway is too inexperienced. He did demonstrate himself, towards the back end of last season, did Tominway, but like I said, he's too inexperienced at the moment. Needs to gain a bit more experience. Matic is too inconsistent. I've got strong reservations about him. He's too slow, and obviously, Fellaini left back in January. So I do believe we need centre defensive midfielder. There has been quite a few of them on our agenda. Obviously, Thomas Partey, recent reports came out about him, this was actually, stemming from his dad, saying that he wants to make the move to England. Obviously, Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about his services. Obviously, Thomas Partey is 25 years of age, so he's still got a lot of development in him. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League yet. Obviously, has spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. I think he's available for a reasonable figure. His initial release clause is around £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid, but it has been Manchester United and Arsenal that have inquired about his services. There was a lot of talks going on about this the other week. I think he's under contract as well with Atletico Madrid until 2023 as well. So yeah, a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, Declan Rice from West Ham. Like I said, I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. Declan Rice, obviously, well Premier League proven. Initially, learned his trade in the Premier League, and he's been at West Ham a number of years now. He's been their senior squad quite a few years, and like I said, he initially learned his trade in the Premier League, and I think he's exceeded expectation levels at West Ham, really, really well. So I think Declan Rice at some point in his career will want to take his footballing career to the next level. Only 20 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him, and obviously as well, he's very, very young. He's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Reports did say before that West Ham would want around £50 million for Declan Rice, and that is a reasonable figure. I think he signed a new long-term contract to West Ham back in December of last year, so he's under contract with them until 2024. So obviously, he's also on Manchester United's agenda. So there's a number of midfielders, of course, that we have been linked with. So with Paul Pogba, of course, like I said, these are possibilities, chance, that he could remain at Manchester United, even though he actually wants to leave Manchester United. But obviously, based on the huge transfer fee we've put on him, this could be the stumbling block of him, making the move away from Manchester United. So we do know his first choice preference is Real Madrid. I think he's keen on making the move to Real Madrid. Obviously, there has been a hell of a lot of talks about him going to Real Madrid. But obviously, recent reports have come out, saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. Of course, this came out a couple of days ago in the media. It mainly came from Sky Sports, and it obviously, this was stemming from the very reliable Italian journalist, Damasio, and he's obviously, very reliable, especially in relation to Manchester United. And when it does come to transfers, he says Juventus have made initial contact with Manchester United. Obviously, no formal bid has been put in them as yet. I don't think Juventus would be able to afford, Paul Pogba outright or a straight cash payment. I think, Juventus would have to offload a couple of their essential players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because like I said, we have put a huge transfer fee on him. But like I said, I think his first choice preference of course, is Real Madrid. But I think also Real Madrid are not keen on getting him on a straight cash payment. I think, they're orchestrating something out, trying to lure Paul Pogba away from Manchester United. Maybe Paul Pogba, would be open to making the return to Juventus, because, he did have 4 good years with Juventus, did Paul Pogba. Obviously, he exceeded expectation levels. He played really, really well, did Paul Pogba in his 4 years with Juventus. But he hasn't really replicated this form since he's returned back to Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him back in 2016. Obviously, our most expensive signing. Like I said, it's not always about, spending big on players. It's not always about getting them well established players, because it doesn't always guarantee you success and all that, and doesn't always get you in that commanding position, of course, where you do want to be. And you can buy the best players in the world, if you're not working as a unit, if you're not working as a team, of course, it's not going to get you into that position, of course, where you do want to be. But we have got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Pogba 89 million, Lukaku 75 million pounds, and all that. But like I said, Paul Pogba's still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United, and I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, try and convince him to remain at the club, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. Obviously, it did say the other week we were willing to offer Paul Pogba the captaincy, in a bid, to convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, we do know, at least in the last 5 or 6 weeks, that Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has been in the process of finding a new club. But reports came out the other week saying that Paul Pogba to Real Madrid is practically done. It also basically said that Paul Pogba has agreed a massive pay cut. And I think, he said his salary was set to reduce from 13 million to 10 million pounds a year. So he did say his wages were set to drop by around 3 million pounds. But obviously, they haven't come to an agreement on the initial fee. Obviously, Paul Pogba was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, of course. And obviously, last year there was talks about him making the return to Juventus. There was also talks about him, making the move to Barcelona. But, you can say Paul Pogba, got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. Because obviously, the couple of main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, because obviously, he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the player, and like I said, the players, and like I said, the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend to come in, so it didn't work out under him. Even though he did win 2 trophies in his first season, obviously, just spent under £400 million at the club and recommended 11 players in. So obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting them 11 players now, of course. But like I currently said, so it still remains uncertain what's going on with Paul Pogba at the moment. But he's 26 years of age, he's in his prime, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So you could still say he's arguably, one of the best midfielders in the world. But maybe a couple of the main factor reasons why Paul Pogba does want to leave Manchester United, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe wants to be in Champions League football, wants to be up there competing, he wants to be up there winning silverware. And obviously, he's not experiencing this at Manchester United, of course. So maybe Paul Pogba, wants to rejuvenate his career. But like I said, he's one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane's got a hell of a lot of targets on his agenda this summer, but his 2 main targets, of course, are Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. And I think to give you an update about Eden Hazard, I think now is Real Madrid and Chelsea have come to an agreement on the fee and all that. I think the personal terms have been agreed. I just read some of it up now, to be quite honest. So Eden Hazard, is going to be making the move to Real Madrid. I think the fee is undisclosed at the moment, but I think BBC Sport have reported that it could exceed up to around £150 million. But this is a bad blow for Chelsea, to be quite honest, because obviously it was their best player, of course. Chelsea obviously now are going to want to find an adequate replacement for Eden Hazard, but they may not be able to do this because obviously they've got a transfer ban. They can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows, but maybe Chelsea will try and get their transfer ban overturned. But what a great servant, Eden Hazard, was in the Premier League. Spent 7 seasons with Chelsea. How many games did he play? Did he play about 352 games? I think he scored about 110 goals during his 7 years there with Chelsea. I think he also won 2 Premier Leagues with Chelsea. I think this came in most recently, it was 2016-17 season. I think he also won it back in 2015. I think he also won the Europa League twice with Chelsea, won the FA Cup and won the League Cup. So obviously, won everything domestically in England with Chelsea, of course, Eden Hazard. So it was really, really, good indeed. Obviously, Chelsea wanted to cash in for this summer anyway, because obviously he only had a year left on his deal. So obviously, Chelsea wouldn't have wanted him, to go on a free transfer. But yeah, Chelsea, will be really, really disappointed about this. How old is he now? Eden Hazard is 28 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. But obviously, it persuaded Eden Hazard, to want to join, Real Madrid more. When Zinedine Zidane, went back into the job. Obviously, initially, he was Real Madrid manager, and then obviously, he stepped down, and then obviously, he was like managerless for 9 months, and then obviously, went back into the Real Madrid job. So obviously, that convinced Eden Hazard, to go there even more. I think if I'm right, he has signed a 5-year contract with Real Madrid. Obviously, Real Madrid obviously got someone else the other day as well as the update. John, I think they got Luka Jovetic from Frankfurt. I think Real Madrid agreed around a £62 million fee for him, and I think he signed around a 5 or 6 year deal with Real Madrid. So obviously, Zinedine Zidane has obviously got 2 players on the board. Obviously, probably Real Madrid are going to see Eden Hazard as the actual replacement for Gareth Bale, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Eden Hazard, did really, really well in his 7 years with Chelsea. Obviously, last season, obviously, quite a few times last season for Chelsea, he did play in that false number 9 role, but obviously, that's not Eden Hazard's, favoured position. You mainly see the best of Eden Hazard on that left-hand side. Some people say he's overrated, but I really, 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 really like Eden Hazard a lot. So Real Madrid have got a deal over the line for him, even though I think it did say back on Monday, was it, that talks had stalled, between Real Madrid and Chelsea, of course. They were struggling to come to an agreement and that, but now I think it has been fully agreed. It hasn't been unveiled as yet, but I think it's set to be unveiled. Is it on the 13th of June? Is it the 13th of July or something? I'll have to look into it more. So yeah, they have got Eden Hazard, so obviously now they're going to be focused on getting a deal over the line for Pogba, because basically, Zinedine Zidane has instructed, his Real Madrid board he's instructed his Real Madrid board, to prioritise a transfer for Paul Pogba, and obviously, he wants to link Paul Pogba up with Casemiro, his Real Madrid midfield. So now, basically, Real Madrid have orchestrated somehow. Obviously, reports have come out in the press the other day saying that Real Madrid, were willing to offer up to 3 of their players, to actually, lure Paul Pogba away from Manchester United. And obviously, the 3 players that had got mentioned were obviously, Gareth Bale, James Rodriguez, and Keylor Navas. But now, recent reports have come out saying that Real Madrid are willing to are willing to offer Gareth Bale as part of the deal, to lure Paul Pogba away from Manchester United. But I don't think Manchester United are going to be willing to go along with this because, like I said with Gareth Bale, if you'd have asked me a couple of years ago, I would have definitely, took Gareth Bale at Manchester United. But like I said, I've got strong reservations about Bale now. He's on the decline. He's aging up. How old is he now? He's nearly 30 years of age. I think he's 30 in July. He's Gareth Bale. But like I said, I would have took him a couple of years ago. But at least in his last couple of seasons, he has been inconsistent with Real Madrid. Obviously, he is injury prone as well, and this is obviously another main factor reason why I wouldn't want him at Manchester United. But reportedly, I think they're willing to use Bale as part of the deal to get Paul Pogba. But if you ask the vast majority of Manchester United fans, would they take Bale as part of the deal with Pogba? They probably would say no. But obviously, we know Bale's been linked to a move to Manchester United. For a lot of years now. I think he's been linked to us since like 2013. But obviously, it hasn't materialised. Of course, I think Real Madrid would find it difficult to get rid of Gareth Bale permanently. Based on his substantial wages, because I think he's on about £600,000 a week or something like that. I think there were talks about the other week, saying that he could make the return to the Premier League, he could return to his former club Tottenham, and I think it did say Real Madrid will loan him out or maybe let him go on the free. So not many teams would be able to afford Gareth Bale, but discarding Gareth Bale being part of any swap deal, Real Madrid wouldn't recoup the initial £85 million that they did pay for him from Tottenham back in 2013. Maybe they could get maybe 55 million, but I don't think they did recoup the initial £85 million that they paid for him from Tottenham back in 2013. So he has been at Real Madrid 6 years. I think he's won about 13 major honours. He has made about 231 appearances for Real Madrid, and he scored 102 goals in 231 games. To be fair, his ratio is still very, very good, even though he is injury prone. He has got 3 years left on his contract with Real Madrid. But obviously, last season he had to, basically step up to the plate for Real Madrid last season, because obviously, Real Madrid lost Cristiano Ronaldo last summer after serving 9 years at the Bernabeu, and obviously, Bale can play on the left, Bale can play on the right, so I just don't want him as part of the deal with Paul Pogba, but I think Real Madrid, are willing to currently do this. So, like I said, maybe some Manchester United fans would like to see Bale come in, but of course, I won't be one of them. He was very, very good when he was younger, with Tottenham, he had 6 good years with Tottenham. I think he was also injury prone at Tottenham, was Bale. But yeah, I don't want him as part of the deal with Paul Pogba. So Paul Pogba, he remains uncertain at the moment, what's happening with him. Obviously, as well, as I've been giving you an update on a regular basis about Joe Felix from Benfica. Obviously, it is Manchester United and Manchester City that are battling it out for Joe Felix. Obviously, Joe Felix is 19 years of age, and I do believe, that Joe Felix, can emulate into one of the best players in world football, without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe not emulating to Ronaldo or, a Messi or a Neymar and all that, but I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world. Obviously, his initial buyout clause is around £105 million. I think Benfica have made it clear if they are willing to sell Joe Felix that his buyout clause has to be triggered, but reports came out the other week saying that we were willing to trigger his buyout clause. It also said that Manchester City are willing to trigger his buyout clause. So I do like Joe Felix a lot, and I'd love him to come to the Premier League because I think he'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, and I think he's got all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League. Obviously, last season was only his first season in the senior squad with Benfica, but he did really, really well. I don't think he's yet made his senior debut for Portugal, but I do really, really like him. Indeed, I think Manchester United, have been scouting, Joe Felix, since like January. Obviously, Real Madrid have been in for him. Obviously, Liverpool had a bid turned down for him in January. So obviously, Joe Felix, of course, has been on our agenda. But like obviously, as I've been mainly, giving you an update on of what's going on there with Matthias de Ligt for Ajax. Obviously, we do know Matthias de Ligt has been subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, he's been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window because so many teams have inquired about his services, and obviously, it's looking very imminent that Matthias de Ligt is going to be leaving Ajax this summer. Obviously, it still remains uncertain, where he will be applying his trade next season because obviously, he hasn't made a decision on his future future yet as Matty is still it. I think he's set to make a decision on his future, you know, sometime next week. Well, initially, I think it was supposed to be this week. He was supposed to make a decision on his future, but I think he needs a bit more time to think, and I think he's gonna make a decision on his future next week. As Matty said earlier. But like I said, you know, there has been so many teams in there for him. But I think now we are set to miss out on Matty still, and I think the main factor reason why Manchester United are set to miss out on him, because obviously, you know, we're not in a Champions League football for next season, and I think from Matty Stillit's perspective, you know, he wants to go to a club, of course, that can offer him Champions League football. So recent reports have basically said that I think now that Barcelona are considered as one of the favourites to get him, but Barcelona have initially, you know, been the favourites to get him at least in the last couple of months, even though, you know, talks, even though it did say the other week that talks had stalled, you know, between Matty Stillett and Barcelona, because obviously, you know, they were struggling to come to an agreement on the terms, and I think also PSG are considered as one of them of the favourites. So I think at the moment his likely destinations are either going to be, you know, Barcelona and PSG, of course. Also, you know, Juventus have been in there for him. Also, you know, Liverpool are still in there for him. You know, Manchester City have previously, you know, been linked to him. Bayern Munich have previously been linked to him, but I think Bayern Munich have initially, you know, now opted out of the race. So many teams have been in there for Matty Stillett. But like I said, it came out the other week, you know, saying that Matty Stillett, you know, he's set to join Barcelona. He did initially say from Sky Sports, you know, he was set to join Barcelona and all that. And I think from his own perspective, his preferred destination was Barcelona. As you all know, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate, Frankie de Jong. Obviously, you know, Barcelona got him for around £65 million, but it still remains uncertain at the moment. It did say, you know, we had offered, you know, Matty Stillett a lucrative contract, and it did say, you know, we'd offered him you know, a contract, you know, worth up to around £350,000 a week. Obviously, you know, this equates to almost £17 million a year and all that. So at one point, it said the other week that, you know, he told his representatives that he was willing to offer, you know, he was willing to accept Manchester United's contract offer. But if he did come to Manchester United, you know, we would be able to show him first team football. Obviously, you know, he'd be guaranteed first team football at Manchester United. Would Matty Stillett. And first team football, you know, would be much easier for him at Manchester United, you know, than it would be for him at Barcelona. But I don't see him coming to Manchester United now, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But like I said, I think the main factor is, you know, why Liverpool have expressed their interest, because obviously Liverpool have got Virgil van Dijk, and obviously, you know, Virgil van Dijk and, you know, Matty Stillett, you know each other really well, you know, because they're both Dutch, and obviously, you know, they both play in the Netherlands national team, even though initially, you know, Liverpool, you know, do not need a central defender. And I think actually, you know, Jurgen Klopp has urged Liverpool's board, you know, to go in for Matty Stillett. I think, you know, for Matty Stillett's agent, Matty Stillett's agent Raiola, I think from his preference, he actually, you know, wants his client to join Liverpool. So I think Raiola, you know, wants, you know, Matty Stillett, you know, to, you know, make the move to Liverpool and, you know, turn down Manchester United and all that. And Liverpool, you know, have actually, you know, got a chance of getting him. In terms of the transfer fees, Matty Stillett's got obviously, you know, going to cost you from between probably £70 to £75 million, because that's obviously, you know, what he's initially rated at is Matty Stillett. But obviously, as you all know, he's a central defender. He's only very young. He's 19 years of age. And like I said, you know, that central defence area is one of the pivotal areas where we need to strengthen up. And like I said, I think we need two central defenders, because like I said, Smalling and Jones not good enough for Manchester United. You know, they've been two long-serving players at the club. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, they have demonstrated over the years that they can play well, that they can hold the line. But like I said, comparing them, you know, Smalling's a much better defender than Phil Jones. But I just think they're too inconsistent at the moment. And like I said, it was a bad mistake, you know, for Manchester United, you know, giving Smalling and Jones a new long-term contract. So I do believe we need central defence, and I think we have identified, you know, Matty Stillett as a priority target. But I think now, according to recent reports, we are set to miss out on him. And I do believe if Matty Stillett, you know, came to the Premier League, it would take his footballing career to the next level. But obviously, he has spent the entirety of his career so far with Ajax. You know, he's been an Ajax player since the age of 8, the age of 9. Obviously, you know, I think he made his senior debut at just the age of 17. So he's had about 2.5, 3 years worth of experience in Ajax's senior squad. Obviously, you know, got named captain at just the age of 18. And he has become an integral part of Ajax's squad, and he enjoyed a really good season last season with Ajax, of course, winning the domestic double for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Obviously, you know, winning the Eredivisie title for the first time in 5 years, and obviously, of course, progressing to a Champions League semi-final. So Matty Stillett, you know, can leave Ajax with his head held up high, and I do believe he would blend in, you know, alongside Vitz Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. I was very impressed with Lindelof last season. I think he really improved for Manchester United. I think his distribution was good. I think he held his line really well. He was showing that ability that I can play out from the back. You know, don't get him wrong, in his first season, you know, he was very inconsistent. Didn't really, he didn't really, he didn't really, fit in the system in the first season, with Manchester United. Was inconsistent, struggled in his first season, but I think, in his second season, with Manchester United, he really stepped up to the plate. Did Victor Lindelof. So we need someone that can basically, partner him alongside him. But I think we need two central defenders. So obviously there has been other central defenders on our agenda, of course, as I've been giving you an update on a regular basis about Harry Maguire from Leicester. Now, it did reportedly say recently that Leicester want around £90 million for him. Now, I don't think Manchester United, would be willing to pay up to £90 million for him. I don't think Manchester City, would be willing to pay up to £9 million for me, even though both of us have got the financial power to meet that valuation. But I think from my perspective, I don't think Harry Maguire's worth £90 million. So basically, Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market. Leicester don't initially want to sell him because Leicester know how much of an imperative player he is. But I think from Harry Maguire's perspective, at some point in his career, maybe if it isn't this summer, but at some point in his career, he want to take his footballing career to the next level. So City have obviously been in there for him. It did initially say the other week that City have identified Harry Maguire as their number one target to replace Vincent Kompany, because City are in the market for the replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I like Harry Maguire a lot. He's Premier League proven. He has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, and I think now he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. But obviously, Jose Mourinho wanted Harry Maguire last summer, and obviously, the rumours have continued to persist since then. Linking Harry Maguire with a potential move to Old Trafford. But I just don't think I'm willing to, pay £90 million. So I think he has been previously, valued at around £75 million. Leicester, I think, paid around £17 million from Hull City. A couple of years ago, but let's be honest, Harry Maguire is not in the same calibre or level as the likes of the Koulibalis or the Rafael Varane and all that. He's nowhere near the same level as them. Is Harry Maguire, so he's not with £90 million, and he's not a Van Dijk from Liverpool either. So definitely not with £90 million. So I think it's been blatantly made clear if Leicester will sell him, Manchester United or Manchester City have got to break the world transfer record for him. Obviously as well, Koulibaly from Napoli, I don't see that happening now. If I'm going to be quite honest, I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. Obviously, it came out the other week, saying that we've identified him as our priority target, Koulibaly. It didn't just make it clear that, we would have to break the world transfer record for him, but we do know Mourinho wanted Koulibaly last summer, and obviously since last summer, the rumours have continued to persist, linking Koulibaly with a move to Manchester United. But initially, the process started under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, reports came out from Italy the other week saying that we had around a £90 million bid turned down for him. Also, it said Real Madrid had a £90 million bid turned down for him, because obviously Real Madrid have inquired about his services. But like I said, I think Napoli have ruled him. Napoli have priced him out of the transfer market, because it came out the other week saying that Napoli are demanding an extortionate price for him. They want around £150 million, and obviously Napoli know that Manchester United are not going to pay that. They also know that Real Madrid are currently not going to pay that. So it is still a possibility, but I don't see it happening, to be quite honest. Recent reports came out saying that we are preparing an £84 million bid for Koulibaly, but obviously this figure is going to be nowhere near enough, to convince Napoli to sell him. Obviously, last year I think we had around 3 bids turned down. I think we had a £95 million bid, turned down for him last year. But Koulibaly has been at Napoli, 5 seasons. I think he's made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions, and he has done really, really well indeed. And I do believe if he came to the Premier League, he'd have all the attributes to succeed. He would exceed expectation levels. Recently Carlo Ancelotti, regarded Koulibaly as one of the best centre backs in the world, and I do believe he's one of the best centre backs in the world without a shadow of a doubt. He's highly experienced. He's 27. He's nearly 28 years of age, so he has still got quite a lot of development in him. He is under contract with Napoli until 2023, so I don't really see us getting Koulibaly, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, there has been talks of Alderweireld from Tottenham, and looking at it from a financial point of view, Toby Alderweireld is a much cheaper alternative, and he's a much cheaper alternative to the likes of the Harry Maguires, the De Ligt, the Koulibalys and all that. He's a much cheaper alternative, and obviously he's going to substantially cost us a lot less, because obviously Toby Alderweireld is available for around £25 million this summer. Obviously, that's his initial release clause, but I think it did say we're set to make a decision sometime this week whether we're going to go in for Alderweireld, but I don't think he's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. Obviously, Toby Alderweireld, you could still get at least a couple of years out of him, but like I said, he's 30 years of age now. He's Toby Alderweireld, his age, He has also lost that yard pace. Don't get me wrong, I still think he'd be a great upgrade in our defence would have Alderweireld. Obviously, like I said, he's been in the Premier League a number of years. I think this is now his 4th season with Tottenham. But yeah, I think he's going to be leaving Tottenham because obviously, you know, he's refused to sign a new contract with Tottenham. So these so many central defenders are agenda. So I'd like Matty Stilic to come in, but recent reports have said, you know, we're set to miss out on him. I think his likely destination is going to be Barcelona or PSG. I think Koulibaly is, you know, unlikely because obviously, you know, Napoli are demanding an extortionate price for him. So who would you like to come in as our central defender? Of course, like I said, we definitely need a right back. Like I said earlier on the video, you know, we need to replace him for Valencia. You know, we definitely need an upgrade to Ashley Young because obviously, you know, Ashley Young has no longer got the ability, you know, to fulfill that right back position. Obviously, I think he's going to be given the captaincy for next season. As Ashley Young. Obviously, you know, we need a cover up for Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot, you know, did well last season, you know, for Manchester United. Quite a few times he was playing as a right winger, but he's initially a right back, but obviously. We know last season Ash Young was our first choice right back. I think a few times we put Diego Dalot at left back as well, but he's predominantly a right back. But he is the upcoming future. He's only 19 or is he 20 years of age, so we do need a cover up for Diego Dalot. Like I said, we've showed an interest in quite a few right backs. You know, Wan-Bissaka from Crystal Palace. Obviously, you know, Thomas Meunier from PSG. Recent reports did say it's looking very imminent. You know, he's going to be coming to Manchester United. Thomas Meunier. Obviously, you know, Manchester United and Arsenal inquired about his services. But yeah. That's mainly everything to update you on today, guys. I've been basically, you know, update you on as much information as I can. So like I said, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, guys. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.